Tested 1, 2, 3. Is there anybody there? Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? It's actually not my normal time. I'm just going to jump on here and have some fun. So, hello everybody. Decided just to get on here and do a live stream for the hell of it. Just happened to have some free time. Needed a break from my studies. So I thought it'd be fun to jump on here and do a bit of a live stream. Hey, King of Chuck, how you doing, man? Can you see me now? Do you have video? Video and sound is fine. Go lay down. Kennel. Kennel. I'm not going to deal with you today. There we go. Hey, that's right about that. Hey, King of Chuck, how you doing, man? Alexander, oh, man, how are you doing? How's things over in Amanda? Amanda. Hey, Mark, what's going on, man? Hello, Clint. I was pulling in. Good to hear from him. Well, good. I'm glad that it's good to hear from you. Hey, Jan Henderson, how you doing? Good to see you too. Clint, what's going on, man? Mark, doing great. Good deal. Good deal. You enjoying this weather over there in Amanda? It's been nice and not raining for a change. How pleasant that's been lately, huh? Actually having a couple days now of sunshine. Hey, Steve Newby, how you doing, man? Who's Wranglestar and Pure living? Okay, I'm going to get to that here in just a bit. Weather is breaking. Man, I sure hope so. I hope so, Alexandro. Wranglestar is a YouTube channel, as is Pure. Pure Living for Life is a YouTube channel. They're both in the homestead genre, not the sailing genre. And there's been a bit of a controversy going on over there, and some real headbutting and anger and frustration and stuff. And so I wanted to make a comment on that, since a lot of my viewers are in fact homesteaders and people coming over from that genre. So I'll touch base on that here in just a minute. Hey, Kim Binks, how you doing? How is things in your neck of the woods? I hope all is well. So yeah, Wranglestar is a YouTube channel. He lives up in the Pacific Northwest, up in the high cold areas, and has a YouTube channel where he supposedly homesteads, depending on how you define a homestead or homesteading. And he made some comments that were pretty harsh the other day in regards to some of the other homesteaders and their negative reaction towards a video done by Pure Living for Life, who basically said all these people with these homesteading channels were playing at homestead as opposed to actually homesteading, which is very ballsy coming from a couple that are in the process of building a house, don't have any animals, and so how do you say that they're homesteading? So who's to say, you know, who's to say what is and what is not homesteading? I can tell you from a real estate standpoint, there's two definitions of a homestead. One is the historical aspect of a homestead, which our federal government used to claim that a homestead was a 40-acre piece of land that they gave to people. They got 40 acres and a mule, with the idea that these people were going to then develop that land, clear that land, farm that land, and contribute to the agriculture of the nation. That was the original definition of homestead. Currently, the definition of a homestead is sort of a tax dodge. It's a means of claiming an exemption for your income, for your property taxes. Excuse me. If you're the head of a household and claiming this as being your place of residence, you declare a homestead exemption for tax purposes. Legally, those are the only two, one historic and one current definitions of a homestead that I am aware of. Other than that, I think a homestead is simply a state of mind. And I'll get into that here in just a minute. Let me check up on some of the comments here. Hey, Austin's Adventures, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. I can't stay very long tonight. Well, that's okay, Austin. I appreciate it. Yes, we are having a great day. Hey, Carolyn Harmon, what is up, dear? Doing great. Hope you are too. Thanks, Kim. Clint Davis, what is a... Oh, and a mule. Yes, 40 acres and a mule. Now, originally, it was 40 acres and an ox, actually, before the mule came in. But the availability of oxen got to be pretty rare. hard to find, and mules were more plentiful, so the federal government was giving away 40 acres and a mule. And just for those guys, just a little bit of real estate history. An acre of land. Does anybody know the definition of an acre of land? And how an area the size of basically 208 feet by 208 feet, how that got determined to be an acre of land? It seems like an odd measurement, doesn't it? Well, the origins go back to the fact that an acre of land is how much a man, a single man, with an ox can plow with a wooden plow in a single day. And it went back to the very early times. So an acre of land, 208 feet by 208 feet, is how much land a man can plow with an ox and a wooden plow in a day. That's your definition of an acre of land. So, little sniglet of information for you there. Hey, Joe Peak, how you doing, man? How's things going down by the river? Kim says, just want to say hi, take care. All right, Kim, we'll talk to you later. Sailing Dutchman, man, what's going on? Just want to stop in and say hi. Well, welcome, dude. I like dinghy and a sailboat. I'd like dinghy and a sailboat. I'd like dinghy and a sailboat, too. And that was the next part of what I was going to say. You know, all these people homesteading, there's a lot of people in America. It's kind of a new movement, actually. People wanting to go back to an older time. You know, they want to get off the grid. They want to get away from people. They want to become more self-sufficient and what have you. And, you know, I was thinking sailors, cruisers today, modern day sailors, cruising community, people living aboard sailboats. You know, that's a homestead, too. That is going to be my home. That's going to be a home for very many people. And talk about being off the grid. I mean, when you're on a sailboat, the way modern sailboats are set up today, you have a wind generator sometimes. It'll generate electricity. They have devices you control in the water behind your boat that turn a generator that generates electricity. They have solar panels up on the roof that generate electricity. So all of these things allow a sailboat to really be fairly autonomous and disconnected and off the grid, if you will. So I think a lot of these people that homestead, that, you know, think about, well, I raise my chickens and I raise my own food and I have a garden and all that kind of stuff, which I've done and have a great love for. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, I really think sailing is sort of the ultimate homestead, at least in my experience and in my intent. You know, I'm not going to be raising pigs or chickens or what have you. But boy, I sure am going to be down with a fishing rod and a spear gun, you know, hunter-gatherer kind of stuff. So even going back further than some of the new stuff. But I don't know. Sailing is the original off-grid living. Yeah, Joe, I agree with that. It really is. Sailing Dutchman says, I hate moving, but the house is in process right now and should be in Freeport, Texas by April 1st. All right. April Fool's Day, man. That's a bad day to do that. But, hey, Dutchman, you know, change is the only constant. Change is absolutely the only constant. So go with it. Shawn Squatch, Pacific Northwest. There's a new name here. Welcome. I can see how Pure Living for Life was wrong. Wranglestar stated nothing wrong, in my opinion. Shawn, my issue with the statement that Wranglestar made is when he basically said that everybody who was upset with Pure Living for Life's comment, and just for those of you that don't know, the lady at Pure Living for Life said that all these people with these homestead channels were playing at homesteading. And I think what happened is a lot of these people that are playing at homesteading were offended by the fact that Pure Living for Life would say that. I think they expected more. They hoped for more out of them, and they were really let down. And so Wranglestar came on, and he said, oh, they're just jealous of these people because of their success. That was my problem with Wranglestar. I think he was out of line and a little harsh for all those people that were putting together negative videos in regards to the Pure Living for Life's comment. As it started quite a bit of a movement, actually. And that may have been their intention in the first place, because certainly that's going to drive, any controversy is going to drive views to their channel. And that seems to be their ultimate goal, is just getting views and subscribers to their channel. So, Anyhow, hey, Palm Limit, how you doing? Hi, Grandpa. Thanks for another live chat. No problem. I did not have a live stream on Sunday, which is when I normally do them. We had a little barbecue with the family over here. Fired up the grill. We did some mixed grill. We had chicken and hamburgers and hot dogs and corn on the cob and Brussels sprouts and stuff. It was really great. I got to spend a lot of time playing with my grandkids, which I just absolutely enjoyed. Just was thrilled to do. So Sunday's family day for me now. So for the short foreseeable future anyway. So anyhow, that was my comment about Wranglestar and Pure Living for Life. I think Pure Living for Life was out of line telling these people that they were playing at homesteading. It was just a poorly chosen comment at the bad time. And I think everybody was disappointed with them. And so, anyhow, I really think sailing, though, is really the ultimate homestead disconnect from the society, getting away from everybody. With the added advantage, you know, if you go buy yourself your 40 acres and get your mule and have your little homestead someplace where you're, you know, raising taters, kids, and chickens or what have you, well, that's great. But if you don't like your neighbors, much like my 80 acres up in Alaska, I had one neighbor there that was a real butthole, really was. He was a crack pipe blowing jerk, actually. Spent more time in jail than he did there on his property, but while he was in his property, he was a royal pain in the butt. Trespassing on my property all the time. But I own the land, and so there I was. I was stuck on that land. Now, subsequently, we've gotten rid of that land, but, you know, sailing's so much easier. I can simply pull up the anchor and go move someplace else and get away from that idiot. So I kind of really like that idea. So anyhow, let me check back into the chat here. Jan Henderson says, I believe homesteading is as much of a state of mind as anything. Yes, I agree with that, Jan. We all have our own version of what homesteading means to them. We have a half acre of land, and it's my own private homestead. Very good, Jan. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Yep. I actually, you know, aside from the legal definition of what a homestead is, your homestead is where you make your home. Wherever you say, this is my space, this is my spot, this is where I'm going to live, that's your homestead. Whether it be, you know, 80 acres up in Alaska or a 2-bedroom flat in Brooklyn, that's your homestead. You don't have to raise chickens and plant a big garden and all that stuff to be considered a homesteader. I don't think, anyway. I'm going to be out on my sailboat. I'm going to be embracing a lot of sort of modern day concepts right now. Small house living, can't get much smaller than a little sailboat. Off-grid living, going to be powered mostly by wind and solar. My carbon footprint is going to be tiny. My sailboat will burn more. My sailboat will burn less fuel in a year than my excursion does in a week, because it has the ability of putting the rags up and sailing someplace. So it's a much greener lifestyle, and it's more hunter-gatherer because I'll be fishing and spear fishing and that kind of stuff. Hunter-gathering, you know, clamming, grabbing lobsters and crab off the bottom, shrimping, that kind of stuff. Just a little bit different. So Alexander says, did you grill any clay pigeons? Nope, did not grill any clay pigeons this past weekend. Nope, sorry about that. Fact is, I kind of ruined my grill up in Alaska shooting that video. I didn't really get into that much, but a clay target melted all over my grill and gave it a real nasty smell that I never could quite get out of it after that. So that grill got sold with the property up there in Alaska, and I'm you know, if I was going to stay here much longer, we would buy another one. So as it is, I finally talked my ex-wife Johanna into getting a little grill that we used for this weekend. It was nice, little $49 charcoal grill, worked really nice. Had a thermostat and all on it. It was a nice little deal. Very well made little charcoal grill. I was real pleased with it. So let's see. Shawn Squatch says her candor was wrong. By all means, I've watched that video, and I really think he was talking about people are becoming jealous of a person or persons, and therefore they will make assumptions. Well, that's always the case, isn't it, Shawn? We see that on the internet, here on YouTube, all the time. So people certainly jump to all kinds of conclusions and assumptions about me. It's almost a full-time job trying to correct all those. And at some point you get frustrated and you just say, screw it. And when somebody brings up something stupid, I just block them from my channel. I have gone back and had to unblock a few people because maybe I get a little heavy-handed with that. But yeah, there's a lot of that nonsense that does go on. Mark Gotham says the Cox Ranch did some neat things, quasi homesteading. You know, Mark, I must admit, I'm kind of busy right now trying to get my real estate business in Florida kicked into high gear. So I'm limiting my amount of YouTube time that I have. And right now I'm focusing a lot more on channels involved with scuba diving and sailing than I am homesteading. Because that's more the direction I'm heading. So I've not watched Cox Ranch in a while, although I have in the past. So I'm not sure what you're referring to, but maybe you might want to expand on that. Steve Newby says, homestead from the earth, homestead from the sea, what's the difference? You don't drown when you're standing on ground. But, you know, kind of hard to take a bad fall when you're in the water too, though. So I guess there's trade-offs, you know. Living up in Alaska, I was always afraid when I stepped out of my cabin I was going to put myself between a grizzly bear cub and a sow. Very real fear up there. I mean, I have video footage on my channel. I've showed video footage of a sow with a pair of cubs that were only 2,000 feet behind my cabin. So a very real fear. In a sailboat, I have fear jumping in the water of things like sharks. So it's a trade-off, you know. You just get to pick your poison. And on the ocean, we tend not to do too much farming. And, you know, I mean, people are starting to farm fish and stuff, but if I'm living aboard a sailboat, I'm going to be more transitory than that. So I don't think I'll be any place long enough to do much in the way of fishing. As it is, I'm going to try to develop an herb garden on my boat, and that might be enough of a challenge. Okay, Shawn Squatch says, I will watch again, but I think he... issue also with people overreacting in one comment, and it was a bit overreaching on some channel parts. Well, sure. I agree with that, Shawn. I think a lot of the channels did overreact to his comments and Pure Living for Life's comments. But, you know, it's their life. They're entitled to overreact if they want to, so. Hey, Don B, what's going on, man? How you doing? Okay, Selling Dutchman, you retracted something and then you retyped it. Maybe you just want to change your mind. Let's see here. As far as homesteading's concerned, if you put a pair of rubber boots on in your pajamas, you go take care of something at 1 in the morning, you're a homesteader or farmer, used to do that type of stuff. Well, that's true, Selling Dutchman. The difference is a sailor also has to get up sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning to go out and check on anchor watch or to check lines or ties or stuff and make sure that things are okay as well. I mean, there's a lot of similarities really in the two lifestyles. You know, with a sailboat, when you're taking care of your sailboat, you almost got to be there on your sailboat most of the time. You can't just leave on vacation, leave your sailboat someplace. Unless you put it up on the heart or something. And on the farm, you have the same thing. I mean, look at all the crap. There's another YouTube channel, guys, called Homesteading with Doug and Stacey, I think it's called. If that's incorrect, guys, correct me. I think it's Homesteading with Doug and Stacey. And this is a couple from, I think they're in Idaho, maybe. Missouri, maybe Missouri. Anyhow, this is a guy who's like an Amish wannabe. They do a lot of homesteading. And they recently went down to the Bahamas. They went down to Florida and went fishing with Darcizzle, who's another YouTube channel. And then they went over to the Bahamas and took a little mini vacation. And I was really disappointed at the amount of their viewers that gave them crap for that. Just because you're homesteading doesn't mean you might not want to go down to Florida and do a little fishing. So there's a lot of similarities, Dutchman, between the two things. I'm also working on insurance and permits to move SV Tina down to Freeport to start refitting her. Yeah, insurance and permits is always a PIA, isn't it? Yep, darn them bastards. Her. Yes, I got that, her. Okay, the Cox Ranch raises all the poultry and swine as well as veggies, plus Sid is pretty easy on the ice. Yeah, I've watched their channel before. I'm well aware of that. Texas, if I remember correctly. Correct me, is that right, Mark? They're in Texas. I think they're in Texas, Cox Ranch. But yes, they do. And yes, it is pretty easy on the eyes, you know. If you like that sort of thing, you're really going to like watching shows like SV Delos, Sailing La Vagabond, and Darcizzle. Those are three channels that come to mind that are easy on the eyes. Yes, but there's no rubber boots. It all depends on where you're sailing, Dutchman. There can be rubber boots if you're sailing up in the North Country. A lot of sailors use rubber boots in the cold weather, especially fishermen. I'm going to have rubber boots on my sailboat for some places that I go. I like rubber boots when I'm clamming and stuff like that, walking in the tidal pools and such. But I get the point, though. You're not in the mud, that's for sure. Well, you are when you're clamming, but anyhow. Alexandro, Indiana, I think. Indiana. Okay, yeah, you may be right. Missouri or Indiana, somewhere in there. Yeah, that nonsense of Doug and Stacey was some complete garbage as well. Shawn Squatch, yes, it was. I don't understand why people got upset with them from that. Okay, everybody hit like. There you go, Alexander. I like that. Everybody, I was going to go do it myself. Everybody go hit like. Yeah, please do like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe if you would, folks. It is greatly appreciated. So, anyhow, yeah, that was all I really wanted to talk about today. I was just sort of disappointed with Wranglestar's video. I watched it today where he was responding and commenting on all the people. And, you know, my basic thoughts to him were that video didn't serve him very well. It didn't accomplish anything positive for him. It actually put him in kind of a bad light, I thought. I was disappointed in him for putting out that video, but you know what the hell? I've been disappointed in myself a number of times too. So, hey, Mark Hind, how you doing, man? Palm Limit says, did you see Delos is hanging out with Captain Rick Moore? You know, Palm Limit, yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, we saw one really, really short video of the Delos boys standing there with Captain Rick. Nothing else. We haven't seen any more of the content. We don't know where they went, what they did, how long they were together. None of that information was just shared. There was just one little teaser, which obviously Rick did just to get a subscribing bump, and that was it. I haven't seen anything on Delos' channel about being with him yet. So... but then again, I may be a little behind because I've really been focusing on my real estate studies. I take my test on Friday, 8 a.m., so I'm getting down to the wire now. Don B says, just out of curiosity, what impact does hitting like have on your channel? You know, Don, that's a very good question. It really... The only thing from my perspective that hitting likes on the channel does, or dislikes does, is maybe giving a little sense of security or a warm, fuzzy feeling to somebody who's looking at videos, trying to figure out what they want to watch, and see, you know, sort of a basic mathematical calculation, if you will, looking at the likes versus dislikes and seeing that most people like something or dislike something, and they may use that as a decision making in their process of whether they want to continue watching or click on something to watch it or what have you. Of course, I think you actually have to click on something to see what the likes and dislikes are. So, you know, maybe I'll click on something, see what the likes or dislikes on, and move on. I don't know. Other than that, I really don't think they amount to a hill of beans, except it's just nice from a creator's standpoint. From my side, you know, I enjoy seeing a lot of likes, and I don't like seeing dislikes. So it's, you know, maybe a bit of an ego boost, or not necessarily ego boost, but, you know, an indication that I'm doing things right or better or worse. There are some videos I do that I just know I'm going to get a lot of thumbs down on. Either way, it's just interaction. So good way for people to vote how they thought about the video, good or bad. and I can use that kind of information to possibly change the direction I might go with future videos or not. You know, I'm kind of an independent SOB, so I just ignore a lot of that stuff and just go on anyway. I do what I find enjoyable. So, Rick said in one of his comments that YouTube demonetization is keeping him from making content because he has to do paying work instead. Yeah, Jefferson, I think that's nonsense. I've had a lot of videos demonetized too, and you know what? You get demonetized, they send you a link, you click on the link, ask it to be reviewed, and you get reviewed, and so far everyone that I've clicked on and asked to be reviewed has been reviewed, and I've gotten paid for it. I don't think I've lost any revenue from that whatsoever. I think a lot of the creators are misunderstanding how that's working. A lot of it is the artificial intelligence program that YouTube is using to make those determinations about what is and is not, you know, demonetized, or at least sort of set back and checked first. They're trying to be very careful about some of the content coming out right now, especially in wake of like the Logan Paul incident, where a YouTube creator actually filmed a guy who committed suicide in China. The guy was at the end of a rope hanging from a tree, and they actually filmed that and put it on their YouTube channel. And it got a lot of nasty stuff that happened as a result of that. So they're just trying to be very careful about that kind of stuff right now. So you missed the second one, and Delos is 8 months behind. Oh, I know Delos is 8 months behind. Is there a second one? I'll have to check then if there was a second one. I think I did see a second video from him, and it had just a tiny little bit of coverage showing some of the Delos people involved, but there really wasn't any storyline with it. It was just some snippets of people doing stuff on the boat. Almost more of a teaser, if that's the second one that you're referring to. I don't know, Palm Limit. Rick said one of his comments, YouTube demonetization. Yeah, I read that. Sorry, I disagree with that. Delos is months behind with their videos. Rick will have more in the near future. Yeah, probably Don B. You know, Jefferson, going back to that real quick. One of the things that Rick did that was a major screw up on his part, absolute blunder, and he keeps compounding it instead of fixing it. And I've actually commented to him myself about this. We all know at this point that the majority of the income that the YouTubers and creators make comes from the Patreon support, not so much from YouTube. As an example, I've been doing the calculations on the view counts and projected earnings for a number of the top channels compared to their Patreon income. And I can tell you that their Patreon income represents something like 75% of their income comes from Patreon as opposed to from YouTube. So whatever YouTube does really isn't going to make a whole lot of difference. It's how much they make on Patreon. What Rick did that was a major screw up is Rick has people making donations to Patreon on a once-a-month basis, not on a per-video basis. Delos, everybody else does a per-video basis. So if you're SV Delos and you're putting out one video a week, four videos, there you go, four videos a month, then you take the amount of money that they're being paid per video times 4. Well, not quite times 4. They do lose percentages as they go to the second, the third, and the fourth one. And that's their actual income. Rick did just a flat monthly rate, regardless to how many videos he puts up. If he puts up one video or he puts up 20 videos, he's only getting paid the same amount of money. So what Rick screwed up is he should change his Patreon account to being not a once-a-month payment, but a once-per-episode payment. And Rick would be making a whole lot more money, and therefore he would give it more priority, because Rick's got enough subscribers at this point. There's no reason why he's just not selling full-time, enjoying himself on his Patreon and YouTube income alone. He doesn't need the other commercial projects anymore if he had set up his Patreon correctly. So I'll just say that. Mark, yeah, they are very different, but I think we'll see interesting content. I hope so, Don B. Yeah, it's funny listening to the whiners whine about demonetization. They end up on blind views. Yeah, and again, Alexander, the money is not from YouTube. It's from your Patreon support. And if it's not from Patreon, it's from merchandise or whatever else that you're doing to monetize your channel. Phil DeFranco is a perfect example. Phil just recently started a Patreon account, but previous to that, Phil was selling t-shirts. And, you know, to give you guys an example, and Phil actually disclosed this one time. If you go back to his videos, you'll find it. Phil produces t-shirts, and he talks about what percentage of his viewers, his subscribers, buy his t-shirts. So, you know, he's got 5 or 6 million subscribers. And, you know, so if 1% of them go and buy a t-shirt, you know, that could be, you know, 5,000 t-shirts for that day. And he makes like $10 profit per shirt. So $50,000 a day coming in off of t-shirt sales, so merchandise. So if you're a big channel with millions of views, your merchandise could be pretty nice income as well. So it was Shaz's birthday. Yeah, Steve, I think you're right. That's exactly what it was. Jefferson Weston, maybe Rick's videos were demonetized because of the new dreadlocks. Very offensive. Yeah, it's kind of a thing that they do down island. I guess, you know, with, you know, Captain Jack Sparrow had that, and, you know, Captain Ron, you saw that kind of stuff, some dreadlocks and decorations in the hair and stuff. You know, maybe I'll put some dreadlocks in my beard. No, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I don't care for it, but maybe you're right, Jefferson. Maybe you're right. How about my friend Rhonda? No Plastic 61. Good question. I'm actually surprised she didn't jump on here tonight. Rhonda is doing better. She's getting out of the house and getting around a little bit now, which is nice. Still having issues. Rhonda's biggest problem now is she was out of work for so long because of her medical issues that she lost her job and has a bunch of bills, rent due and car payments due and stuff like that, and no income. So she's trying to find some, you know, relief in that regard right now, which is just, you know, one more stress on top of everything else that she has to deal with, poor girl. But she's alive and she's doing well. So, Selling Dutchman says, LOL. John Harris. Hey, Grandpa. Toledo here. Hey, John. What's going on in Toledo? No Plastic 61. After I posted, I received a pop-up saying his live chat messages will be saved. A pop-up saying live chat messages will be saved. Huh. New to me. I've not heard that live chat messages will be saved. But I would like to see that happen. It would be great if the live chat stayed with the videos for future reference. But we'll have to look into that, No Plastic 61. Thanks for the heads up. Don B, I think some of the stranger channels reach a tipping point where new subscribers go back to watch, in some cases, years of past videos, driving up viewership. Yes, Don, that's absolutely correct. And it's not just the stronger channels, it's all channels. I get people watching stuff that I put up 2 years ago, and they'll make a comment, you know. In fact, I just got a comment yesterday from a guy for a video that I put up like 2 years ago, and I read the comment, and I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about? Then I had to go look at what video he commented on, and I actually had to go back and watch that video again myself to remember what it was that we were discussing and said during that video. I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about, and then I could respond to it. So I get a lot of those comments a lot from people from a long, long time ago. And also recently I've had a really weird thing happening. I've been getting comments that people made months ago that are just popping up into my feed now. Comments that people made on videos like 4 months ago. And now they're just all of a sudden finding them and posting them onto my channel. I don't know what's going on with YouTube in that regard or how that happened. But there's some people that made comments 4 months ago, and apparently, you know, the comment never stuck or never got answered, and they're just now popping up. So, Selling Dutchman says, you can view our new house at my blog site, sailingwithdutchman.com. There you go. Hey, while we're on that subject, Selling Dutchman, anybody on here that's got a YouTube channel, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Put on here, hey, I'm a YouTuber. Please check out my channel. Subscribe. So anybody on here can go look at your channel and see what you're about. I like to support other creators, so feel free to jump up here, and now's the time to say, hey, check out my YouTube channel, guys. I got that message also. Okay, so other people have been getting that message, huh? Very interesting. Huh. Nice looking home, Dutch, like the floors, parts. There you go. Let's have a beer sometime and talk about sailing in warm weather. John Harris, you got that right. You absolutely have got that right. Alexander O, it's the CIA monitoring Grandpa's channel. Maybe. Maybe. Your comments will be held in evidence. Hey, after the comment I made, upset with our president's comment recently, I don't usually do politics on my channel, but I took offense to something that Trumpy, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Trump. Okay, I like some of the things he's doing. I like everything he's doing. I like some of the things he's doing. And he made one thing that I commented about on my Facebook channel. I'm not going to put it here on the YouTube channel, but on my Facebook channel, I got some crap for that. So maybe the feds are watching me now, Don B says, no plastic. I also got the same message. Huh. Thank you, Jeff. It's got to be the Russians. There you go. Hey, Trav, what's going on, man? Yes, soon. Okay, Grandpa. Yes, John. Actually, give you guys a heads up. The plan is right now, I am finishing up my licensing right now for Florida. I will be working down in the Florida area starting, next week or so, actually, hopefully. And as soon as I can from my earnings, I'll be buying an inexpensive monohull to keep down there as my floating condo motel room, what have you. And then by November, I hope to either get a better boat or a bigger boat. I'm still going to keep a boat in the Florida, Bahama areas then for over the winter and continue to grow it from there. So I will be, not this summer, but this coming winter, we will be on board a sailboat in Florida and the Bahamas so we can get some people out sailing. Well, I think YouTube will show the chat when you post a live stream to your channel. Oh, I hope so, Don. I hope so. I got banned on Facebook for 30 days for that type of stuff. Oh, no, Dutchman. Sorry to hear that. Shell's Home Place Journal, Land of the Free. There you go, Shell. Grandpa, remember, he is the master of disguise. Oh, okay. All right. Simply dislike Dump as well, but I think you are referring to him taking guns without due process. Exactly, Jefferson. That's exactly what I was upset with. And it's not a firearms issue. I'm not, it's not because of the guns. I have a problem with illegal search and seizure without due process. I think that's a cornerstone of our democracy. So, hey, Austin, what's going on, man? Trump put a tariff on your comments. Mark, it wouldn't surprise me for the damn feds to start taxing my videos pretty soon. So, well, what am I saying? They do. Last year, I think I got a whole $1,700 from YouTube. That was my income for last year on YouTube, was $1,700. The bastards actually sent me a tax form showing my income on there. And now I got to pay tax on top of that. So, tell you what, that was a hell of a lot of work for $1,700. Hell of a lot. So, he holds a carrot all the while they're walking towards a pit with sharp sticks. Well, maybe. Nice, great. Okay. Yeah, John, we will be on board this coming winter. I really want to wait until after hurricane season before I own a boat down there. Now, that may change. If a screaming deal comes along, I may buy something and be stupid. I really don't like the idea of owning a boat and keeping it in the Florida Keys or in that area during hurricane season. That's just stupid on my part, but we'll have to see. So I'm really thinking somewhere around the 1st of November, I'll buy a boat somewhere around there. But, if some screaming deal comes along, I may get something sooner. What about civil asset forfeiture? Let's not even go there, Dutchman. I don't want to get involved in all the politics of my channel. Pry them from my cold dead hands. I'll never give them up. There you go, Alexander. Oh, actually, I am giving mine up. I'm giving mine up to my kids, my son and my grandchildren. I'm not taking guns on board the boat with me. That's a big controversial subject, but I am not taking firearms. It's just too much of a pain in the butt dealing with foreign governments when you have guns on board. Too much of a risk. I am not going to get thrown in some third world country jail, you know, because I lost a shell, I can't find a bullet or whatever. Because not only do they lock your guns up, they actually count how many shells you have, how much ammo you have. If you're missing so much as one bullet, they can lock you up for it. So Sessions has now announced he's going to seize assets and money from people accused of crime. Lovely. Yeah. Okay, yes, me too. Go somewhere else out of hurricanes. Yes, John, I agree. I agree. Grandpa in a Turkish prison. Oh, my. Actually, I would almost prefer a Turkish prison. It's the third world down in the Caribbean islands and those kind of places that I would really find objectionable. Alexander O, I hope to sail with you next winter, saving my money. Also going to put my camper in St. Pete. Need a place to crash. Oh, there's an interesting idea. Yeah, St. Petersburg is a nice area over there on the Gold Coast, on the west coast of Florida. That's a nice area. I actually used to work for a company that lived there in Tampa, St. Pete, a little company called Raymond James. I used to be a branch manager for Raymond James, one of their affiliates, actually, Robert Thomas Securities. Believe it or not, guys, Grandpa used to be a stock jock. I used to be a stockbroker. I used to be the guy that would call you up and try to sell you horse shit to buy so you could lose money. No, that's not what I did, but that's what they wanted me to do. I wouldn't do it, but probably would still be in the business if I did, but can't work that industry and have a clean conscience. Got out of it. Anyhow, so yeah, the whole Wranglestar Pure Living for Life controversy was something I wanted to make comment about. I don't think that Wranglestar did himself justice by having a negative comment about that. I think it was disappointing for him to even have gotten involved in it. I think a lot of the homesteaders have sort of jumped to conclusions and, you know, made a mountain out of a molehill. I think the girl from Pure Living for Life shot her mouth off and regrets that she had done that. I hope. I would at least like to think she did. So we'll see. I think Grandpa would wind up being shot caller at the prison. I don't know about that. Been out of the loop, but I don't see any OSB walls behind you. Did you move? No. The OSB wall is in front of me now. I am turned around facing the other way. What you have behind me is my bed. The OSB wall is over there. I'm now facing the other direction. That's a black cloth over a window. There's the door in and out. And there's my stuff piled up in the corner. Oops, sorry if I got you dizzy, but that's a little tour of Grandpa's garage that I'm staying in. So, hey, you know what? It's warm, it's dry, it's comfortable. Me and Lily have our own little place. We can do our own little thing. And it's working out really well. You know, it's working out really well. So that's why you don't see any OSB anymore. I'm facing the other direction. I think Grandpa would want, yeah, shot caller. Okay, I'm not in love with guns. They are a tool. I'm against someone telling me I can't have them. There you go, Palm Limit. I agree with that. I agree with that. Yep. Yep. No plastic. Where is Lily? She's right there. I have her in her crate because she was really wound up when I tried to start the live stream. I mean, really wound up. So I just put her in her crate to let her calm down and get quiet. So she's fine. I saw a YouTuber from a certain network announce that they were a homestead because they had 2 chickens, no veggie garden, but 2 chickens. Hey, whatever. You know, I don't think you even have to have 2 chickens. I don't think you have to have anything. I don't think you need to raise anything to consider yourself a homesteader. If you've got a homesteading mindset, you know, I'm a homesteader and I'm living right now in a garage here in Ohio. You know, but I consider myself a homesteader because I know what I like. I can tell you I'm making some really good progress here with my family. I'm getting them to cut down the plastics that they buy. I'm getting non-GMO, or I'm getting all the GMO foods out of the house. I'm getting the quality of food that they're eating. Everyone's now eating real food, not all the processed, you know, farm stuff. Got everybody off the Diet Pepsi wagon now. Well, everybody but my son Vincent. I'm still working on him. Him and his wife still need a little bit more work, but making good progress, making the family healthier here in Ohio. And I think that's all part of that, homestead mindset of trying to live a simpler, healthier lifestyle. So, good deal. Thanks, No Plastic 61. I appreciate that. I don't think there's any criteria to it. And as I was saying, I really think that people that are on a sailboat are some of the greenest, most homesteady kind of people you could be. I mean, what could be... Okay, if I'm going to get on a sailboat, I'm going to go buy a used sailboat. So I'm already recycling plastic, right? I'm buying a fiberglass, which is basically plastic boat, and I'm recycling it. I'm buying a used one. I'm going to reuse it for a place for me to live. There you go. That's recycling plastic. That's along that whole line. I plan on talking a lot about conservation and pollution and those sorts of things as part of my channel. I don't plan on lecturing about it. I don't want to, turn off everybody the second we get onto those subjects. I do want to try to figure out some way of being able to bring up that conversation without turning people off. Maybe talk about some of the successes that we're having in fighting some of these issues. But, there's a lot of nasty stuff floating in the water right now. So that stuff needs to be brought to light. And in so doing, maybe I can influence some people. And if I can, that's awesome. I've always believed in a life of service to the community. And I would like for my service to the community to be helping people understand why you need to not put so much fertilizer down on your lawn to make it so green. Because that fertilizer runs out into the ocean eventually. It goes from your property, down your sewer, down the drain, out to a creek, out to a river, flows all the way down, comes out in the ocean. We have the algae blooms out in the ocean, the brown tides and green tides, huge fish kill-offs. All of that's tied directly to how much fertilizer you throw in your yard up here in Ohio. So making those kind of connections for people, little stuff, little steps, guys, little steps. We make a difference with little steps. So like, how do you eat a whale? One bite at a time. And I'm not opposed to eating whale, by the way. So, okay, let's see. Jefferson Heston, hey, homesteaders still can have booze, right? Hey, Jefferson, homesteaders, not only can they have booze, most of them know how to make it and have the resources. If you're a potato farmer, you can make vodka. If you're a corn farmer, you can make whiskey. If you're a grape farmer, you can make wine. All the alcohol comes from agricultural products. So farmers are the reason why we have beer, which is made by hops and barley. Mostly barley, but a little hops added to it for flavoring. Barley is a grain, much like wheat or oats. They make alcohol from it. We make beer. Beer comes from barley. Barley is a grain. It's a nice deal. So yes, homesteaders, not only do they have booze, they oftentimes make their own. Homesteading is also, to my mind, is that DIY idea, doing it yourself. So SV Delos is a perfect example of people out on a sailboat cruising around the world that are sort of DIYers. They actually have their own still on board their boat and make their own whiskey. They make their own alcohol by running a still on their boat. That's DIY mentality. That's homesteading mentality. I love it. So, Shell's Home Place Journal says, how's the real estate license coming? Shell, it is coming fine. I'm going to be in absolute disclosure here. I like to tell, much contrary to the beliefs of some of the morons that watch my channel, present company excluded, of course, but I took my real estate test last week, and I got a big old fail. See right there, I failed. I scored a 74 out of 75. I was so pissed at myself. Can't believe I missed it by... I hope I covered up the bad word I wrote on there. I actually wrote a bad word on the test. I was that angry. I scored a 74 out of 75 this past Tuesday, or past Friday. When did I take the test? On the 27th, I took the test. I will tell you this much. The real estate school that I've been using for brushing up on my stuff and preparing myself for it, and all their tough study materials, I was scoring in the high 90s. High 90s. I walk into this test and it was like a whole different language. So I'm really upset with the school I've been using for this. But I'm prepared now. I've figured out where I was weak and have fixed that. And some things have changed. Some of the laws have changed. Some of the regulations have changed. The way they do stuff. Because I've been doing this for a long, long time, and that's to some degree my problem. When they ask me a question, I'm like, well, what about this and what about that, and how can I answer this question properly without knowing this, that, and the other thing? Quite often with this test, I have to remind myself that I have to figure out what the answer is based on exactly what they taught in the class, because that's what they want the answer to be. They want it to be their simple answer, not the answer that you get from 30 years of experience selling real estate. But they want you to be able to recite just exactly what they wrote in the text. And so, if anything, I overthought a lot of my answers. And so I've been going back and trying to, in some ways, dumb myself down a little bit and really trying to adopt the KISS theory. So, but it's fine. I'll go in and take the test on Friday and I'll pass it and it'll be fine. Won't be a problem at all. And then once that's done, then I can immediately start getting into my marketing and stuff, because my license, everything else is done. All the other qualifications I met, the FBI check, the fingerprint check, all that stuff, all that's been done by the state of Florida. And so I'll be licensed and in good place again. So that's what's going on with real estate licensing. Alexander Rose says, I work pipeline and cross a lot of streams in PA. Those streams have fish, unlike Ohio streams. I was at Old Man's Cave the other day and didn't see one fish. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all, Alexander. A lot of the streams here in Ohio just get flooded out so many times that the fish habitat gets destroyed. Jefferson Weston says, pardon me, Grandpa, I'm heading outside to plant corn and potatoes. Well, plant a little barley while you're out there, too. Or get some beehives going, because, from honey we can make mead. So a lot of good options there. Hey, Sorrenti, what's going on, man? Long time no see. How you doing? Did you mean 74% when you needed 75 to pass? Yes, isn't that what I said, Don? I'm sorry. Yes, I got a 74. Well, actually, it was a 100-question test. So I got 74 out of 100, and I needed 75 to pass. I missed it by that much. What a dumbass. God, I'm still mad at myself for that. Hang in there. My wife failed 4 times. Oh, geez, Palm, that's way too much. Oof. I hate talking driver's written test in each new state I live in. I overthink it. Yeah, Shell, same thing. I just overthink them and, oh well. Please. Okay, John. Friendy, doing good. Excellent. Good to hear that, man. Good to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. So, yeah, I did some interesting things this week. I released a bunch of turds out of purgatory on my channel. I had a bunch of people that I blocked a long time ago, and so every so often I get in there and free a bunch of those turds loose to come back, and some of them will eventually come back and make another stupid comment on my channel and get themselves blocked again. But I did go ahead and release a bunch of people this week. Some people I was kind of surprised. There's actually a couple of people in there I was really surprised were in there. I was like, what in the hell did they do that I blocked them? Maybe I blocked them by accident, trying to hit a different name or something. I don't know. But, oh well, I'm human. I make mistakes. So life is good. Life is good. You move on. Pick up the pieces. My mom would say pick up the pieces. It's a funny story. I was just talking to Johanna, my ex-wife, about this. When this happened, when I took the test on the 27th and I failed it, and I went out and I sat in my car, and I was just so spitting mad at nobody but myself. I mean, I'm just angry with myself for that. And I could almost hear my mother's voice in my head saying, oh, well, pick up the marbles, which is a saying she used all the time. She would say that all the time. And I thought to myself, Mom, you're right. Pick up the marbles. Let's fix it. Let's figure out what we did wrong. Let's make it right. We'll do it again. Get it over with. And what a great attitude that was for me, because it really allowed me to release a lot of that frustration and tension. You just say, oh, well, pick up the pieces. We're human beings. We're fallible. We make mistakes. And, forgive yourself for those mistakes and move on. You can't sit there and keep hashing up the old stuff that you did. You can't keep rehashing the past. You got to forgive yourself. You got to let go, and you got to move on. You got to go forward, because life only knows one direction, and that's going forward. There's no point in beating yourself up over something that you screwed up on. In this particular case, I screwed up. I did not adequately prepare myself for that test. I thought I was adequately prepared for that test, but I thought wrong. I know better now, so I'm learning from that mistake and moving forward. And to me, that's success in life. I don't consider it a failure that I missed that test by 1 point, because I'm going to take it again and pass it the next time. I would consider it a failure if I missed that test by 1 point and quit. To me, that's a failure. Those people that don't try for fear of failure, those people, if you ask me, are the failures. Those people that put themselves out there and push on and go forward and drive themselves over the next hill. You get beat down, you get beat down. Pick yourself up and start all over again. Start working up that hill. Those are the winners in life. Those are the people in the end that have that, I don't know, certain je ne sais quoi, if you will, that shows that they're winners. And I love that in some people. So anyhow, where are we at? Shell says again, Grandpa's rehab for trolls. Yeah, right? I hadn't thought about it that way, Shell, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. Put them in rehab for a little while and let them sit in there and stew. But, wow. I will tell you a funny story on Grandpa. Something I did that was sort of dumb, but very funny nonetheless. I was looking for sailing groups, or not sailing groups. I was looking for groups to join on Facebook, and I'm specifically looking. Lately, I've been adding a lot of scuba diving groups, people involved in and interested in scuba diving. I love to scuba dive, and so I'm trying to expand a little bit more with that. Anyhow, I came across a sailing group, and it was, I think it's called, oh gosh, I think it's called Salty Sailors, SALTYSAILORS, Salty Sailors. And I thought, man, that's great, Salty Sailors. That's going to be a bunch of old guys that have a lot of sailing experience, and I'll be able to learn from these guys. So, or at least have some cool stories to hear, you know. So I asked to join this group called Salty Sailors. Well, it is not what I thought it was going to be. It is not. It is, it is just a whole bunch of pictures of very scantily clad women with a sailing theme. I'll give it that much. It does have a sailing theme. But man, there's a lot of pictures that I'm surprised are even allowed to be on the internet, let alone on a Facebook channel. And so I was sort of taken aback by that, and I kind of laugh at it now. Now, keep in mind, Grandpa is a divorced man, and I don't have any, you know, woman in my life right at the moment. So I haven't unsubbed from that channel. You know, just because, you know, you may have owned a Picasso or a Rembrandt in the past, there's no reason why you don't want to look at a Monet or something else in the future. So there's a certain amount of that going on. But yeah, it was a big surprise to me to see the Salty Sailors Facebook channel. So I'm going to give them a big shout out to all you other Salty Sailors out there. If you want to check them out, you may want to search and join the group Salty Sailors on Facebook. Certainly some good eye candy for us single old guys. So, yes, that's right, Shell's Home Place. Some true confessions time. There you go. John Harris says, keep my number. Want to sail with you. Hey, John, stay tuned to the channel, man. As we're getting closer and closer, I have every intention of inviting a bunch of the viewers and subscribers to come out and go sail with me a lot. So, Texas Coastal Sailors is a good group on Facebook. Well, there you go, Dutchman. I'll check that out. Don B says, I took a course last year and depended on the study materials more than the subject matter. I got it 97%, but I was expecting 100%. Pissed me off. FYI, the material was dry and easy to memorize. Huh. Yeah, you know, Don, when I was taking the study material with this real estate class, all the testing stuff I was getting, I was scoring in the 96, 98s, 97s, all up in that neighborhood. So I was really surprised and sort of taken aback when I actually sat down for the real estate test and the questions were popping up and I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the hell? You know, I had to really knuckle down, and fortunately my experience carried me over it. But had somebody else, if this had been the first time, if someone was a new real estate broker, new to the industry, or this was the first time they were transitioning from a sales agent to a real estate broker, I could see where it might take someone 4 or 5 times to pass the test. Fortunately, I have a lot of experience with that, so I knew a bit more than most people. But man, I was really disappointed in myself for missing it by one. So anyhow, John Harris says, "You're good. Do it again." I did. Yeah, I'm doing it again. It'll not be a problem. I'll pass the test. I'm not at all worried about it. I've got 2 more days of studying. I know exactly what stuff I want to concentrate on during those 2 days. It'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. So, a little good news on the home front. Signed the documents and FedEx the package back up to Alaska on the sale of the farm up there. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a done deal. There's nothing else for me to do. I don't really care about the outcome of it one way or the other because I'm not getting any of the money anyway. It's going to the ex-wife. So it really doesn't germane for me one way or the other, except that it's done. I no longer have any more responsibilities in that regard. So I can put that chapter well behind me in my life and hopefully be able to move on with a clear conscience now and not have any problems. So I did have a good laugh. I got a phone call this week from Dish Network. I don't know if you guys are aware of or remember my comments about Dish Network previously, but I called up and canceled my TV subscription to Dish Network as I was leaving Alaska back in October. And Dish Network called me up and said, well, we need to fine you, or we're assessing you $500 and something for canceling my contract early. I was like, oh, well, I wasn't aware of that. I said, how much longer does my contract have to go? They said 1 month. It was a 24-month contract. I was 23 months into it. I needed to go 1 more month. So I said, well, how much does that month cost? It would be my normal bill would have been $80. So I said, well, then why are you charging me $500 when there's only 1 month left? Well, that's our policy. If you cancel your contract early, I said, well, then don't cancel the contract. Leave the service in place and I'll pay you the $80. Oh, no, we can't do that. You've canceled the contract already. Well, guess what, Dish Network? It's going to be a cold day in hell before you see $500 on that canceled contract. I'll happily send that $80, pay that last month and be done with it, but there ain't no way in hell I'm sending them $500 for that. So I rather imagine they're going to ding my credit for that, and oh well. You know, my credit's so bad, people look at my cash funny, so I'm not too worried about it at this point. After the divorce and everything else, my finances are an absolute disaster, and that's fine. You know, you got to sometimes fall down to zero so you can start rebuilding, and that's what we're doing. So I will. Okay, John. Excellent. Well, anyhow, guys, we've pretty much pissed away an entire hour here. I don't have anything else specifically I wanted to touch base on. I kind of touched base with all the things I wanted to. I'm glad you guys stuck with me and listened to all this nonsense as we go along. I'm going to let the demon child loose for a minute, see if she gets out so you guys can say hello to her a little bit. Policy, you got to love it. Sad part is I used to write policy for the government. Uh-oh, Don, you're one of them, huh? There she is. Can you see her? Can you see her? There's Miss Lily. Say hello. Woof. 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 Come on, woof. Oh, well. Normally she just woofs when I do that, but she's not going to woof today. Can you see yourself? See Lily? Right there. See her? You see Lily in the picture? Wolf. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that right there? Is that you? Oh, well. She's just going to sit there and wag her tail at herself. What are you looking at over there? What's so interesting over there? You're a weird dog. Anyhow, guys, there's Miss Lily, so you can say hello. Shell's Home Place Journal says, I think you have caught my just life. Just too soon, just too late, just too tight. Oh, now you're going to get up in my lap, huh? Oh, gosh. Okay, hello. No Plastic 61 says, hello. No, you can't. Dog. Stop. Get your foot down. Guys, now you know why I put her in the crate. She jumped up and hit the keys on the keyboard. Messed up my feed here. Used to be when I'm retired now. Okay, well, we'll forgive you then, Don. You take care, buddy. You be well. Very pretty. Yeah, she's a good dog. Well, she seems calmer than usual because she's been in the dog crate during the live stream. So she is not wired yet, but she will if I continue talking her a little bit. She'll start getting more and more excited as this goes on. So you can see her right there. My little Labrador. So anyhow, guys, we're going to go ahead and pull the plug on this, end this here. We'll have more for you later in the week. I am not putting up much in the way of videos right now. Fact is, I subscribe to Adobe Premiere Pro on a contract basis, and right now I don't have the funds for it. So I'm unable to edit videos at the moment. Once I get working again and have some income coming in, we'll correct that. But for the time being, you know, it is what it is. I might try to do something straight off the phone or what have you that doesn't require editing. But there's a couple of things I'd like to do. What are you doing standing on my head? Seriously, dog? What are you doing up there? You guys see her? What are you doing up there? Get down. Ah, she's a pain in the butt. Yes, this network definitely does suck. Absolutely. So anyhow, guys, we're going to end it here. You guys take care. I hope to see you guys soon. Be sure to go over and check out the new layout of the channel now. You'll notice it's no longer Grandpa's Farm. We're just going straight out with just the name. And hopefully, if things go well, we'll be able to see you guys on this sandy beach, something like this coming winter. And we can sit back and enjoy some cocktails and have some fun. So we'll see you guys later, everybody. You guys take care and be careful and take good care of one another, okay? We'll catch you later, folks. Good night.